Welcome to the channel, you petrol-sniffing hooligans. Today we're diving headfirst into a dust-up for the ages, a comparison between two automotive titans, Ferrari, the prancing horse of Italy, and Corvette, the roaring eagle of America. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is like comparing a perfectly aged steak to a McDonald's cheeseburger. And you might be right, but stay with me because even a cheeseburger can surprise you with a good pickle. We'll be dissecting these automotive legends, comparing their prices, popularity, power, sizes, and the legacies they've carved into the tarmac of time. Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into an epic comparison between two iconic sports cars, Ferrari and Corvette. Buckle up as we explore their prices, popularity, power, sizes, history, and lasting impact. Right then, let's talk turkey, or should I say lira and dollars. We all know that owning a supercar, especially one with a prancing horse or a crossed flag badge, is going to require a rather large stack of cash. But just how large? Well, a new Corvette will set you back around $60,000. Not exactly pocket change, but this is a car that can outrun a sneeze from a cheetah. Now, for the Ferrari. Even the name sounds expensive, doesn't it? We're talking several $100,000, even for the entry-level models. And if you're thinking about a classic Ferrari, well, you better be prepared to remortgage your house and sell a kidney or two. But here's the thing, you're not just paying for horsepower and handling, you're paying for heritage, for exclusivity. Of course, there's always the argument that you could buy a perfectly good used Porsche for the price of a new Corvette, or a small island for the price of a Ferrari. But can you really put a price on a dream? I say no, but then again my accountant might disagree. Now let's talk about something a bit more subjective. Popularity. Which of these automotive titans has captured the hearts and minds of the public? It's a bit like comparing apples and oranges, really. The Corvette, with its everyman image and relatively attainable price tag, has always been seen as America's sports car. It's the car you dreamed of owning when you were a kid, the one you worked hard for and finally parked in your garage. The Ferrari, on the other hand, is a different beast altogether. It's a symbol of success, of aspiration, of a level of wealth most of us can only dream of. But here's the thing, both cars inspire a certain level of passion and devotion among their fans. Corvette owners are fiercely loyal to their American muscle, while Ferrari enthusiasts are drawn to the Italian marque's history, performance, and undeniable sex appeal. It's like comparing the Rolling Stones to the Beatles. Both bands are legends, both have legions of fans, and both have left an indelible mark on the world of music. Ultimately, it comes down to personal preference. Do you prefer the raw power and swagger of the Stones, or the melodic genius and cultural impact of the Beatles? The same goes for Ferrari and Corvette. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty, the bit that really gets petrol heads hot under the collar power. We're talking horsepower, torque, and the visceral thrill of acceleration that pins you to your seat. This is where the comparison between Ferrari and Corvette gets really interesting. On the one hand, you have Ferrari, with its legacy of screaming V8S and V12S, engines that sound like a choir of angry angels. These are cars that are designed to be driven hard, to be pushed to their limits, and to leave you breathless with their performance. On the other hand, you have Corvette, the underdog, the plucky American upstart that's been punching above its weight class for decades. Corvettes are known for their big, brawny V8S, engines that produce mountains of torque and a soundtrack that's pure Americana. So, who wins in a drag race? Well, it depends on the specific models you're comparing. But generally speaking, Ferraris tend to have the edge in terms of outright horsepower, while Corvettes often pack more of a punch in the low-end torque department. Ultimately, it comes down to personal preference. Do you prefer the surgical precision and raw speed of a Ferrari, or the brute force and thunderous torque of a Corvette? Now let's talk about something a bit less exciting than raw power, but equally important: size. After all, you need to make sure you can actually fit in the darn thing before you hand over your hard-earned cash, right? When it comes to size, Ferraris and Corvettes are surprisingly similar. Both cars are designed to be low-slung, aerodynamic, and, let's be honest, a bit of a squeeze to get in and out of. But there are some subtle differences between the two. Ferraris tend to be a bit shorter and narrower than Corvettes, with a lower roofline. Corvettes, on the other hand, are a bit longer and wider, with a more spacious cabin. So, which size is right for you? Well, it depends on your priorities. Ultimately, it's all about finding the car that best suits your needs and your lifestyle. Now, let's delve into something a bit more substantial than the size of the engine or the length of the hood. Let's talk about history, about legacy, about the stories behind these two automotive icons. Ferrari, that prancing horse from Maranello, has a history as rich and complex as a perfectly aged balsamic vinegar. Founded by Enzo Ferrari, a man who ate, slept, and breathed motorsport, the company has been at the forefront of racing and performance car production for over 70 years. From the legendary 250 GTO to the modern-day LaFerrari, Ferrari has produced some of the most iconic and desirable cars the world has ever seen. The Corvette, on the other hand, is a relative newcomer to the game. Born in the optimistic, chrome-laden 1950s, the Corvette was Chevrolet's answer to the European sports cars that were starting to gain popularity in America. And you know what? It worked. The Corvette, with its fiberglass body and potent V8 engine, quickly became a hit, capturing the hearts and minds of a generation. Over the decades, the Corvette has evolved and adapted, but it's always stayed true to its roots as an affordable, high-performance sports car. So there you have it, the Ferrari and the Corvette, two automotive legends, each with its own unique character, its own strengths and weaknesses, its own story to tell. Which one comes out on top? Well, that's for you to decide. Ultimately, the best car for you is the one that puts the biggest smile on your face, the one that makes you feel alive every time you get behind the wheel. And let's be honest, whether you choose a Ferrari or a Corvette, you're guaranteed to have an unforgettable driving experience.